From the Grand Ballroom of the Four Seasons Hotel in Sydney, Australia, it's the 35th Ethnic Business Awards.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gift of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia
Verde luna, sole gelido, stelle azzurre e pioggia infinita. Passami il balcone e non mi guardi mai, e questo è tutto quello che mi dai. Il vento mormora e mi tormenti assai, mentre soffia nella valle dei miei pianti. Lui sa che eri tu la colpa del mio dolore, ma il vento soffia ancora senza pietà. Senti il richiamo del mare, forte e gentile, mentre ti prende nel profondo dell'anima, ogni volta che lasci sospiri. Il tempo porta il mio sapere, il tempo mi ricorda il passato e il presente. Il tempo non mi dice come sarà domani, ma il tempo non mi salverà da te. Senti il richiamo del mare, forte e gentile, mentre ti prende nel profondo dell'anima, ogni volta che lasci sospiri. Di passione valuta, di passione valuta. Dimmi perché l'amore è così difficile, un momento di gioia e di eternità e di dolore, di passione valuta, di passione valuta. Senti di chiamo del mare, forte e gentile, mentre ti prende nel profondo dell'anima, ogni volta che lasci sospiri. Di passione valuta, di passione valuta. Il vento mormora e mi tormenti assai, mentre soffia nella valle dei miei pianti. lui sa che eri tu la colpa del mio dolore, ma il vento soffia ancora senza pietà di passione evoluta. Grazie, thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage your host for this evening, multiple Walkley Award-winning author, journalist and broadcaster, Tracy Spicer AM.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, honoured guests and everyone watching here in Australia and right around the world. Welcome to the 35th Ethnic Business Awards, our continued celebration of belonging, inclusion and enterprise. You're going to hear tonight some truly inspirational stories of vision, determination and ultimate success in Australia's wildly diverse business community. First, though, a big thank you to Jessica De Bartolo for a wonderful rendition of our national anthem, and to the brilliant Alfio for that original and very beautiful piece, Passione e Voluta. What a great way to start the evening. Thanks again, Alfio and Jessica. How about another round of applause? Well, tonight, of course, is all about great entrepreneurs, the founders of 12 amazing businesses, our 12 finalists, 4 of them Indigenous and 8 of them new Australian brothers and sisters. Just some of the many migrants who've come from all over the world to make Australia their home. Now they've all found another home inside that home as we celebrate their accomplishments and invite them into the EBA family. Let's give them a huge welcome. And it wouldn't be possible for us to celebrate the achievements of our finalists tonight without the support of our sponsors. Joseph Assaf of the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation would like to thank all those people and organisations who so generously help. We acknowledge the amazing support of Sadara, ABC Tissue Products, Ethan Group, both Indigenous and global, Zadco, the Department of Home Affairs, Arab Bank, KPMG, Living Gems, Divest Health Group, International Livestock Export, the beautiful Four Seasons Hotel right here, Nexia Australia, Carla Zampatti and Design Awards. Thank you all. And thanks to our broadcast partners who televise, stream and report this celebration in Australia and around the world. They include our principal media sponsor, SBS, which has been broadcast in the EBA since its very inception. Yes, a deserved round of applause right there. They've been our champion of multicultural and multilingual broadcasting, and we thank them so very much, along with the Aurora Community Channel, El Telegraph, Google, National Indigenous Television Network, Choujiong, the Sunrise Daily newspaper, 1688 Chinese Media Group and its daily Chinese Herald and Chinese Melbourne Daily, Top Media Group, Neos Cosmos, Sydney Today app, Indus Age and Bruce Clay. Wow, we have so many incredible supporters. How about a round of applause for our sponsors and broadcasters? I also want to welcome the many dignitaries who are with us this evening. Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beasley, ACKC, Governor of New South Wales, the Honourable Tony Burke MP, Minister for Home Affairs, the Arts, Cybersecurity, Immigration and Multicultural Affairs, and the Leader of the House, who's here tonight representing the Prime Minister, the Honourable Anthony Albanese. We also have the Honourable Peter Dutton MP, Leader of the Opposition. The Honourable Julian Hill MP, Assistant Minister for Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs. The Honourable Michael Sukkar MP, Shadow Minister for Social Services, the NDIS, Housing and Shadow Minister for Homelessness. Amongst our guests from other nations, we are delighted to have tonight His Excellency Dr. Siswo Pramono, Ambassador of Indonesia. His Excellency Mr. Milad Rad, Ambassador of Lebanon. Her Excellency Betty Pavelic, Ambassador of the Republic of Croatia. His Excellency Dr. Gianluca Rubagotti, Consul General of Italy. His Excellency Dr. Sarvesvaran Janakiraman, Consul General of India. His Excellency Mr. Charbel Macaron, Consul General of Lebanon. His Excellency Mr. Vedi Kurnabuana, Consul General of Indonesia. Welcome finally to the Honourable Scott Morrison, former Prime Minister, and General the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove, AKAC, former Governor-General and one of our esteemed judges at the EBA. A warm welcome to all of our distinguished guests. Gee, it's wonderful to see so many faces from so many places here tonight. As I consider this room, the variety of nationalities, political persuasions and faiths, all the different cultures, from the vibrant mix of European, Middle Eastern and Southeast Asian cultures to the oldest and most enduring cultures of this country's First Nations peoples, I'm struck by the importance of the mission of the EBA's chairman, Joseph Asaf. As the late Alan Gingell, who was for many years a judge of the EBA, said in his introduction to Joseph's book, he has a mission to impart the lesson, not to particular tribes or groups or nationalities, but to all of us humans, that we should learn to live effectively and rewardingly with each other, poking away, as Joseph puts it, at the flames of hope for a better world. Tonight's gathering of finalists in many ways embodies that ideal. Selected from hundreds of nominations, our final 12 hail from Spain, India, Lebanon, Iraq, Italy and Indonesia, and from Australia's First Nations, Badalag in Torres Strait, Wiradjuri of central New South Wales, the Dharawal and Wandandian people of the New South Wales South Coast. We all know that business in Australia is about building bridges between communities, people, markets and nations in all their forms. They've also come to know that bridge building isn't easy, and that's why the Ethnic Business Awards acknowledges the challenges, the sacrifices and the hardships they've faced, and celebrates the endurance and the will of Australian businesses like theirs to survive, to succeed and to give back. At the EBA, we've been telling great stories like this for 35 years, can you believe it? And we've shared these stories with many familiar faces along the way. Let's take a look.
The Ethnic Business Awards have long been a feature of our splendid multicultural landscape. They pay tribute to the extraordinary achievement and contribution of people born on shores other than our own.
Post-war migration began as our nation's greatest experiment, and it has become our nation's greatest success. Because as migrants, we accepted that in a new land, we shouldn't only take, but give as well. And yes, it's worked. Immigration has worked.
Diversity creates unity. That unity, born of diversity, creates opportunity. Multiculturalism is Australia's competitive advantage in the global marketplace.
As Australians, we pride ourselves on our ethnic diversity, our innovation, our entrepreneurship, and of course, excellence. And it's these very qualities that are celebrated tonight through the Ethnic Business Awards.
For those of you who are here tonight as finalists in these Ethnic Business Awards, it is a great thing that you are here. You are our automatic bridge to the world. And so much that we do in commerce, in export, in import, in trade and investment. You form such natural, wonderful, diverse, fluent, culturally sensitive, human bridges to the rest of the world, that you are for us an enormous national strength.
It's not possible to think of the economic growth of Australia over the last 30 or 40 years without thinking of the massive contribution that have been made by the group loosely called ethnic Australians to the development of our country.
we're taking the chance to highlight the tremendous achievements and efforts of some Australians who've come to this country, have not started with the natural advantage of knowing it, and have done things that are special, which we can all identify with and which we can all celebrate. And that's really, I think, what the Ethnic Business Awards are about.
I am never prouder of Australia than on a night like tonight, which exemplifies everything that is good about our country. The migrant story lends a heroic dimension to our national life. That's what we celebrate, and that is at the heart of the Australian story.
This country is an immigration success story without parallel, and we should be enormously proud of what we have all achieved. It's also wonderful to see that the Ethnic Business Awards have embraced our first Australians. There is a spirit of entrepreneurship sweeping across so many Indigenous communities, and it's fantastic to know that that's being recognised. The story of this country is one of great optimism, overcoming all challenges. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we're celebrating tonight.
This is a great event. It's a great event because it showcases our greatest strength. Our greatest strength as a nation is when we come together. Our greatest strength is our people. One of the reasons why I come to this event is to get energy. I find it incredibly uplifting to watch the extraordinary stories of people who've come to this country. I do want to say that we're a better country because of every one of the nominees who have been honoured tonight.
Wow, 35 years, so much to celebrate. Literally thousands of nominated businesses, hundreds of finalists, and dozens of awards. It really has been and continues to be an amazing journey. In that time, our judges have spent countless hours deliberating and assessing all of these nominations from all over Australia, applying a unique but consistent set of criteria: hardship, contribution to the community, and all the various elements of business success in order to make a final selection of the finalists. The judges' task is inevitably a difficult one because they're always dealing with outstanding achievers in various fields. All of the nominees are Australian and all have their own fascinating stories. All have created their own opportunities, and in the face of sometimes seemingly insurmountable challenges, they've turned those opportunities into new stories of success, and then used that success to create opportunities for others as a way of saying thank you. Now, it's time for us to thank the judges themselves for the amazing job they do. Let's meet 5 remarkable and generous individuals. One of our most long-serving judges, Eve Crestani, is a professional director and business consultant with a background in law and management. A business strategist, Eve provides advice on enterprise transformation and strategic change implementation. She's served on numerous boards, listed, unlisted, mutual, global and domestic, and has been a fellow of the Australian Institute of Company Directors since its inception. She's also a member of the ASX Appeal Tribunal. Adam Goods is unfortunately unable to be with us this evening. Adam is CEO of IDIC, Indigenous Defence and Infrastructure Consortium, an organisation dedicated to breaking the back of poverty in Indigenous communities by developing entrepreneurs and growing sustainable businesses. He's a founder and director of the Goods O'Loughlin, or GO Foundation, an organisation that creates opportunities for Indigenous young people through a holistic approach to education. In 2014, Adam was named Australian of the Year in recognition of his community work and anti-racism advocacy. Very much with us here this evening is General the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove, one of Australia's most illustrious soldiers. Rising through the ranks, he became Chief of the Australian Defence Force in 2002. Between 2014 and 2019, Sir Peter served as our nation's Governor-General. At the end of his tenure, he was appointed a Commander of the Royal Victorian Order for his service to the Queen. Retired now, Sir Peter remains involved with defence, health and charitable organisations and is chairman of the Biz Rebuild fundraising panel assisting in disaster relief. Joseph Healy joined our judging panel last year. He's a published author, international banker, a co-founder of Judo Bank and a director of the Australian Finance Industry Association. He's held executive positions at Lloyds Bank, CIBC World Markets, Citibank, ANZ and NAB. He's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, a senior fellow of FINSIA and has served as a director of the Football Federation of Australia. Also new to our judging panel last year, Dr. Stephen Jiggins is a professional communicator who develops and implements information campaigns for the federal government in areas as diverse as Indigenous affairs, multicultural affairs, the census and road safety. He's held senior communication advisor roles in the National Food Authority, the Australian Federal Police and the Defence Materiel Organisation. In 2014, Stephen was appointed a member of the Order of Australia. Oh, we have phenomenal judges, there's no doubt about that. How about you put your hands together for our hard-working judging panel? It's now my immense pleasure to introduce the chairman and founder of the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation, the visionary behind these awards. A business achiever in his own right, a published author, member of many boards, councils, committees, a recipient of the Order of Australia and the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Migration Council of Australia. The man dubbed the father of multiculturalism, the amazing Mr. Joseph Asaf, AO. So lovely to see you.
Good to see you too, after, 16, 17 years?
That's right, it's been a very, very long time. How did you feel about that comprehensive introduction?
Well, Tracy, thank you very much for that very kind and almost comprehensive introduction.
What do you mean almost? What have I missed?
Well, you missed on being a father, on being a grandfather, on many other things, but it's okay. I forgive you. I still stay friend with you.
Well, that's a relief, Joseph, because we need to have a conversation and that's not going to work if you're not talking to me.
Well, it's okay. It's good, but I'm more than happy to chat. But first, if you don't mind, I too would like to welcome everyone here tonight. I'm delighted to see the many dignitaries, the many excellencies, the representatives from both sides of the House, our esteemed judges, our members of the board, valued sponsors, media representatives, and all our guests tonight. Very warm welcome. And lastly, of course, a big welcome to our 12 marvelous and deserving finalists, and they come from many countries. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us tonight. Thanks for your indulgence, Tracy. Now that I think you have some things you want to chat about, I'm ready for that.
Yes, I want to pick your brains actually about the late Alan Gyngell's comments about living effectively and rewardingly with each other. How has that translated to you on a personal level?
Well, that's a very good question. I think I already answered it to some degree in my book. I talked in my book about arriving in Australia with no language, no family, no money, significant disadvantages, a lack of social and cultural awareness, and so on. But this was actually an advantage in disguise. You know, it meant that I had to very quickly become self-reliant in this new place. I had to bring drive and initiative to everything I tried. I had to learn from my failures and capitalize on my successes. You know, I joked with you just now about being a proud parent and a grandparent. As such, of course, I want to give my children all the support I can, but there is one thing I can't give them, and that is the empty suitcase, the nothingness, because I arrived with nothing. So it is harder to become self-reliant and harder to live effectively and rewardingly when it is not a matter of absolute necessity. Still, I'm proud to say my children seem to be making a pretty good job of it.
They really are. And do you and Angela encourage them to a degree to march to their own tune?
Absolutely. There is always room for new tunes. Coming back to my book, I talk about society as an orchestra, and an orchestra as a metaphor of multiculturalism. It is enriched by the variety of instruments and by the different sensibilities of many players. That's what makes an orchestra harmonious. And when it is well led by a caring and considerate conductor, its potential is endless. What's more, if there is discord, it is easily solved by open discussion, a rehearsal, by simply getting along, often by embracing a new sound. And as Oscar Wilde said, you don't shoot the piano player. And I say, never remove the instrument, because you can keep the trainer or retrain the trainer, but never touch the instrument or remove it. It is the same in a multicultural society like ours. We must always seek to embrace difference, not to marginalize or remove specific groups or ideology. That's how diversity works at its best. And at its best, cultural diversity is Australia's biggest advantage in an ever-changing world. Diversity generates harmony, and harmony is the coordination of differences. And there is no harmony without diversity. As I always say, diversity includes every culture and excludes none.
Thank you so much for that, Joseph. It's the perfect analogy, and as always, you're a delight and an inspiration. Mr. Joseph Asaf.
I do have one more duty to perform. As chairman of the Ethnic Business Award Foundation, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you, representing the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Anthony Albanese, the Minister for Home Affairs, the Minister for Immigration, the Minister for Cyber Security, the Minister for the Arts, the Honourable and the always busy Mr. Tony Burke.
Your Excellencies, my parliamentary colleagues, former Prime Minister, all the members of the judging panel, and all the members of the diplomatic corps, and most especially the most dear, distinguished guests tonight, indeed, are our hosts in Joseph and Angela. It's a real privilege to be here, and I think of the 35 years, I've probably been here for 20 of them. And as I look at that video, there's a few of us who've been here more than once. None of us look a day older, but we keep coming back for one very simple reason. Tonight, we celebrate the best of modern Australia. That's what this event celebrates this evening and every year. There are always a range of stories, and you look through the program and you see businesses ranging from health services, recycling and environmental services, a whole range of different sorts of businesses that people have taken. But they all have a couple of features in common. They all have involved risk, whether it's a First Nations business or somebody who has only recently made Australia their home. They all involve taking risk. The second thing is they have all involved success for those businesses. The third is for every single one of them, they've employed and given security to other Australians who haven't taken that exact risk, but who have offered their labour and have been given dignity at work because of the vision of the business leaders who are here tonight. They provided services to the nation and to other businesses, but most importantly, when we talk about who might win, we already know for every one of the businesses we celebrate tonight, the nation has won, and the nation has won big time. And to each and every one of those businesses, do understand the bipartisan nature of tonight, the number of members of parliament and even former prime ministers who keep coming back, come back because we know one simple truth. The nation is better because of you. And that's why we keep coming here. I want to remind when Joseph referred to what we can pass on to the next generation. And Joseph referred to success putting him in a situation where he can't provide the next generation with exactly what he arrived with in terms of the empty suitcase. But those of us who've read Joseph's book know that the suitcase wasn't truly empty. It was a suitcase full of dreams. And that suitcase full of dreams is able to be passed on to the next generation. And the other great gift that gets passed on to the next generation is the gift of language. While English is the dominant language in Australia and we want everybody to be able to have those English skills, it is also the case that anyone who has the gift of more than one language knows too well that the concept of translation is not really true. There's not a matching word in English for every other language, and there are some ideas, beliefs, place names, concepts that only exist in the language of your heritage. I was pleased earlier this year that we made significant investments in First Nations languages so that we can finally turn the corner from them being languages that have been increasingly disappearing to languages that have a history right back to the first sunrise on this land that will indeed always be there and over time will now start to grow again. And I also am so pleased that the gift that gets passed on to the next generation by many people in this room is to make sure that more and more Australians are bilingual, that the language of your heritage is a wonderful gift to your children and a wonderful gift to the nation. And to continue to pass that on delivers what was described in the video by former Prime Minister Rudd as making sure that you are our bridge to the rest of the world, but also making sure that all the beauty, the poetry and the concepts that exist in the language of your heritage can forever live in Australia too. I am always struck by when I go to events where there is a welcome at the start by a First Nations elder. And you can think of all the different things that might be said, given the history, and the word and moment of generosity we keep receiving is the word welcome. It's an extraordinary level of generosity and something that's not lost on us. I'm also conscious that there's a few people here who had previously held the portfolio that I hold. Both Leader of the Opposition, Peter Dutton, and former Prime Minister Scott Morrison have been Ministers for Citizenship. And one of the great honours in that role is that you get to determine what are the words that someone will hear immediately before they become an Australian citizen. I've had the privilege of being able to do that twice. Once when I held the job in 2013 before Scott bundled me out of it, and then more recently after the last reshuffle. I've tried to reciprocate that concept that we get from First Nations welcomes, so that now every time when people become Australian citizens, they get told two things. First of all, they get told that Australia is about to become a better nation because of them, that their story, history and journey becomes part of Australia's story too, and we're better for it. And secondly, to offer them the welcome that has that history on this land back to the first sunrise and conclude the message with the words, welcome home. For each and every one of the people we celebrate tonight, you are welcome and have welcomed so much into this country. We are better economically because of you. We are better as a nation because of you. And tonight we are so proud to join with the board, to join with Joseph Asif and all the inspiration that brings us here tonight, and to celebrate you. To each and every one of you, Australia says thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony, for your evocative words about language, for joining us at this special event, and for your and your government's continued support of the Ethnic Business Awards and of multiculturalism, not only as an idea, but as a fundamental part of what it means to be Australian. And a big thank you to proud husband, father and grandfather Joseph Asaf for your, as always, inspiring words, for your spirit of enterprise and your ongoing commitment to these awards. Thank you both. How about a round of applause? And now, friends, Tom Geraghty and his Worldwide Pictures team offer us a first-hand look at our 12 finalists across 3 categories of these awards. With each one of these categories, our judges have evaluated overall business success by assessing market ingenuity, performance, growth, future outlook and financial success, along with contributions to community and hardships and obstacles faced. We wish all our finalists the very best tonight. And so, to our first category, Excellence in Indigenous Business. This award celebrates the economic, social and cultural contributions made to Australia by First Nations businesses. Tonight we have 4 wonderful finalists drawn from the huge number of nominations we received from the traditional owners and custodians of the land. We bring you these finalists in no particular order, so please don't read anything into the sequence in which you meet them. Just sit back and enjoy the short films our nominees have made with Tom and his tremendous team. Worldwide Pictures have traversed Australia recording these stories so we can learn for ourselves about the challenges our finalists have faced and the successes they've all enjoyed. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our first nominee, Wiradjuri woman Jessica Staines and Koori Curriculum, a wonderful initiative in the area of early childhood education. This consultancy facilitates a range of professional development programs and workshops for educators in order to guide the inclusion of Aboriginal perspectives into early childhood learning. In doing so, it contributes to a more reconciled and unified country for future generations. Its direct and tangible impact in moving forward towards that positive future is what drives Jessica in the process of building the business through new partnerships and collaborations, new early childhood centres, and new resources for the entire community. Let's take a look at Koori Curriculum.
My name is Jessica Staines. My business is called the Koori Curriculum. The nation that I come from is the Wiradjuri Nation, so out near Molong and Parkes in New South Wales. The Koori Curriculum is pretty multifaceted in the services that we provide. So we sell educational resources as well as offering professional development that aims to build educators' cultural capacity and confidence to embed Aboriginal perspectives in their day-to-day curriculum and program. For me, I think, we all have different lived experiences. Certainly, I was always aware that Dad's family were Aboriginal, but it's really something that I only explored as a teenager and became interested in. I think the reason being is that to look at me, I'm white, I'm not identifiably Aboriginal, and with that comes not being white enough, but not being black enough, and trying to find your space within that. I started working in early childhood when I was 16. When I was working in early learning services, we were supporting a lot of Aboriginal children at the time, and I wanted to find a way that we could include their culture in context to everything that we were doing instead of having it tacked on and separate. And I started a Facebook page that was just sharing my experiences as a practitioner, things that I was doing in the classroom with children, and it really just took off. There was a huge demand of educators really wanting to know how to do this work. They would ask a lot of questions like, what is NAIDOC Week? What does it stand for? How do we do an acknowledgement of country with children? It was difficult in the beginning financially. I was worried about leaving my role as a teacher and whether the Koori curriculum would be sustainable and to replace that kind of income. It was just, me in a suitcase and sometimes my mum like driving, around to different areas like yo-yos backwards and forwards across the country visiting services, and we still do that. But now, we've been able to develop different mediums and ways of reaching people. So we still have an online social media presence, about 26,000 educators that are in there. But we also have a membership, online webinars and pre-recorded webinars. We have a huge online shop, lots of Aboriginal children's books, lots of finger puppets and toys. So we're just able to reach more people in what we do. We have won lots of different awards. We've been recognised as one of the top 50 business leaders this year. We won last year the Australian Women's Business Awards. The Koori curriculum continues to grow and grow. What I'm really passionate about now is working with other Aboriginal educators to build their professional identity and their capacity. I know that it's about having feet on the ground, accessing different communities and having those conversations that has the change, and that system has proven successful for us. If you have a good idea and you're true to, what you want to do and you're prepared to do the work, Australia, there's lots of opportunities for you to have a go.
Breaking down barriers for educators in understanding the Aboriginal experience, in how to be inclusive and respectful, and making services more accessible to Aboriginal families. That's what Koori curriculum is all about. Huge congratulations to Jessica Staines. Now, unfortunately, Jessica is unable to be with us this evening due to ill health. We wish her all the very best for her recovery as we move on to our next finalist, Jack Rees and Badum. This is a cybersecurity company with its unlikely origins on the remote Badoo Island. It was co-founded by CEO Jack Rees and close friend Philip Jenkinson in 2018, partly in response to the growing digital gap between First Nations peoples and non-Indigenous Australians. But more importantly, in an effort to create new career opportunities for First Nations people by lowering fiscal barriers and addressing issues of connectivity that limit employment and career opportunities in remote areas of Australia. Let's take a look.
My name is Jack Rees. The name of our company is Badum. I am from the Torres Straits, a small island called Badoo Island. I am Badoo heritage. So we provide cybersecurity solutions, and some of the customers that we work with are your ASX listed organisations and with the various levels of government. My earlier years were up in the Torres Straits. When I was 4, Mum and Dad moved south and I ended up on a property out in southwest Queensland. It was this idea that you had to move away from regional remote communities to access opportunities. At 17 years old, I signed my first professional football contract with an NRL club called the Sydney Roosters. You put all your eggs in this basket to go, well, my life's sorted. I am now going to go and play, pack my bags and go and move to Sydney and play for the Roosters. Unfortunately, I had a really bad injury and my football career was cut down at an early age. I had to then figure out what the next voyage was for me. I know innately I wanted to own a business and run a company. I had a barbecue with myself and Philip Jenkinson, and we could rattle off our Indigenous sports stars with unending ease and go, well, why is it that we can't name any First Nations technical IT professionals, let alone any First Nations CISOs or CIOs, our C-suite level of executives? When you think about one of the world's oldest living cultures, there's an innate obligation to protect land, sea and country. We wanted to start Badum Solutions to be able to provide and offer secure and capable solutions for our customers. And then what we wanted to do was provide or find or build a role model in IT and cybersecurity and say, hey, the same way you protect your country, I want you to apply that and protect Australia's data and digital resources. For the first 18 months, we operated out of the lobby of the Brisbane Hilton because we just didn't have sufficient cash flow. And now we've grown from the lobby of the Hilton to having offices in Brisbane, Sydney, staff in Melbourne, South Australia and Perth. And we would eventually grow from 7 years ago to now having 30 full-time employees. Year on year, we've doubled or more in terms of the size of our revenue. So our first year was a 6-digit revenue, second year 7-digit revenue, and last financial year we had a 9-digit revenue. What we've been able to successfully give back to communities is 52% of our profits. Where we can, we always look to employ First Nations boys and girls, men and women first, and any First Nations student who is looking to study an IT discipline at the University of Queensland, the ANU in Canberra, the Edith Cowan University over in Perth will receive the Bidem Scholarship. Now we can bring into the conversation intergenerational wealth and that regaining of self-determination and economic empowerment. I love Australia. Australia's home. I hope that, when I know that there are sensitivities that surround us, but I truly believe that in due time and course, and it may not be in my generation or our generation, but we will all come together and reconcile.
Gee, it's a whole new take on the notion of caring for country, isn't it? What a wonderful story of positivity, altruism and business acumen going hand in hand. Profit with purpose. That's the ethos of Bidem and Jack Rees. Congratulations to Jack and to co-founder Philip Jenkinson. Now we come to our third finalists in this category. It's Waminda, South Coast Women's Health and Welfare. Established in 1990 and represented today by Sue Cutmore, Waminda is a female-led, community-controlled health organisation that provides women and their families with a culturally safe and holistic opportunity to belong and receive free quality health care and support. While striving for real change in the wider community, its key focus is tailored, strength-based care and improved health, well-being and spiritual outcomes. Let's take a look at this one.
My name's Chrissy Falzon. My country is my grandmother's country, so Waniwan Dani and Gamaya and Wabunja.
My name is Sue Cutmore, Kamilaroi woman, living on the south coast, Wandi Wandandi country.
The name of our organisation is Waminda, South Coast Women's Health and Wellbeing Aboriginal Corporation. We provide services to Aboriginal communities across the south of the coast. We provide holistic services, a whole life approach to wellbeing and care, all clinical services, case management, if they need financial support or, if they just want to feed or somewhere safe to access for a while they're in town.
Waminda services are free to all community members, Aboriginal women and their families.
I'm one of the CEOs of the organisation, so I've been here for about 15 years, worked across various roles, and I currently look after the capital builds and policy and operations.
I'm a member of the Board of Governance and I've been on the board for about 4 years.
Obviously we're really resourceful with the funds that do come in. The majority of the funds that come in is government. In the next 5-10 years we want to change that. We're looking at ways to self-determine our own future and be able to be financially stable ourselves through philanthropy, through our social enterprises and be able to thrive through that business lens of the world too. As part of our social enterprise, one of the areas is our Black Seed Cafe. So that's been part of our vision for years now. It's located in one of the main streets in Nowra. It showcases our community so beautifully through our foods, through the vision, the arts. We sell our own local produce, so through our Black Seed merchandise. The cafe's buzzing that much all the time that we've had to extend next door for catering, and we're just going through the final stages to be able to expand for more area, to have so many Aboriginal people employed in a town like Nowra in the main street. In hospitality is it's so impactful to be able to walk down the street and see family working in the shop and laugh and listening to music and just seeing our culture celebrated. So we have a garden, Corella, out at Terrera that we grow our own native foods. We have volunteers that come there and staff that work out there as well doing their training. We do a decolonisation workshop. We're just celebrating our 40 years this year of women's leadership. It's hard to describe that in words, what that means for us. Being run and governed by all Aboriginal women is unique. We're developing the frameworks and making sure there's input to ultimately improve outcomes for Aboriginal people across the country. Women's absolutely heading in the right direction.
From 6 to 175 employees. Wow, this is an inspiring story of strong women, strong community and strong culture. Wominda is a true celebration of culture, a wonderful example of approaching healthcare in a way that brings wholeness, in every sense of the word, to women and their families. Congratulations. And now, our fourth finalist in this category. This is Nathan Martin and Djerwa. In the language of Nathan's Dharawal people, Djerwa means to grow. The company offers best-in-class end-to-end waste management and recycling services to building, construction and commercial customers across New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. But it doesn't just operate for profit. Its focus is on delivering meaningful outcomes for Indigenous people, communities and businesses. This is a truly inspiring story of generosity, determination and redemption, as you're about to see.
My name's Nathan Martin. I'm a Dharawal man from the south coast of Jervis Bay. And the company that I'm representing here today is Djerwa. Djerwa is a waste management company. It's been operating now for about 3 years. The south coast of Jervis Bay, it's a beautiful place to grow up, you know. Being an Aboriginal community on the south coast, you're pretty isolated, so you do get up to a lot of mischief, and you know, I was definitely one of them. I guess that sort of led me numb to a lot of the choices that I made later on in life, you know. I made some silly mistakes and I got myself a 7.5-year prison sentence. I had 2 kids before I went away, 2 young ones, sitting in that place for years upon years. It's just a waste of a life. Whilst you're incarcerated, that's your world. You're in there and that's it. You can't really help anyone or do anything on the outside. You're just stuck in there. The time that I got whilst I was away from my family, you know, that really has an impact on people. It was probably exactly what I needed. It was a bit of a wake-up call, you know. When you get out, what are you going to do? And that's what I used it for, you know. I walked around and looked at the yard one day when I woke up and I was just like, you know what? There's not many people here that a construction company will give a crack to. And it didn't matter where anybody was in their career, whether at the start, the middle, or, you know, getting to the end. And that's where I really had the idea of bringing people that are currently incarcerated, bringing them out, training them, getting them jobs. But then also too, not just getting a job whilst they're inside, maintaining that opportunity of work when they get out. I'd seen in the market that there was an opportunity for an Aboriginal waste management company at that time that Bingo's morals and ethics and mine actually aligned. Maybe we could do a partnership together to create an Aboriginal waste management company. Look, it was probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. So they're a minority partner. I'm the managing director, and so, you know, the buck stops with me if there's any issues. Financially, it was very tough, you know, definitely over the last few years. I think inherently businesses, right, didn't really want to work with Indigenous business. They don't really trust that they're going to deliver. So they've got to work with an Indigenous business, right? But they're not really sure if they can deliver on their project. Well, now they know that they can deliver on their project because they're already using the other company in the background. So I knew from that it was gonna win a lot of work, and it was gonna be successful. Did I think it was gonna be this successful? No. At some periods there, it grew over 300% in a year. At this current moment, we're in New South Wales, Queensland, and Victoria. The success rate of the program is really high. Let's just say you have 12 months left in your sentence. That means you can come out and work for 12 months. You know, you might have about $50,000 at the end of this program, which will set you up to not make the same mistakes that you did before you went away. We had 3 girls come out of a correctional centre and all complete the program, and they're all currently working for Bingo right now. So it's been really successful. We want to have our own transfer yard. That's my goal. because once you own your own property, that allows you to do this program that I've been talking about at a lot bigger rate. Australia, oh, I love Australia. There's no better place in the world. But obviously there is still a lot of trauma in the background, but it's not all doom and gloom, and we are on the right pathway forward.
What a terrific story. We all make mistakes, but not many of us can turn so spectacularly around our mistakes into something positive and life-affirming. Let's hear it for Nathan Martin and Jerwa. Our congratulations to Nathan and indeed to all of the finalists in this category. How about a huge round of applause for all of them? They're unbelievable. Before we move on to the award for small business success, it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage a man who is a big believer in belief itself. His company, Ethan Group, is a leading light in information and communication technologies, and through technological innovation and future-based solutions, helps clients to achieve the best possible result for their businesses. Please put your hands together for Mr. Tony Jaja of Ethan Group. So lovely to see you. We've witnessed the phenomenal success of first Ethan Group and then Ethan Indigenous. What is Ethan Group up to at the moment, and why is the partnership between Ethan Global and DLG so very special?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honourable guests, of course Tracy, and finalists. Ethan Indigenous is a very special partnership between Ethan Global and the David Lydiard Group. Really, the two businesses and organisations had a very similar goal, a very similar agenda, and shared the same values. And that agenda was to create IT jobs throughout Indigenous and First Nation communities. With 60% less as an income against the median for First Nation people throughout Australia, and up to 85% less income than non-Indigenous in remote and regional areas, we thought we could make a difference. Last year, 35,000 hours of IT Indigenous employment went through the books. Over the next 12 to 18 months, it's 100,000 hours. Our first female Indigenous cyber security expert is now in the business and very senior throughout the organisation, working on some of the largest companies throughout Australia and top secret environments. We've got two elders, along with David Lydiard, the legend himself, working throughout communities to double the number of cadets throughout Brisbane, Canberra and Sydney, on-site. Some fantastic changes that we've created to change that statistic around income, which is generational development. It's not just an income, it changes the lives of many First Nation and Indigenous people. But all of that's not possible without the support of great businesses, including the likes of Westpac, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, New South Wales Government, Medibank, pretty much every federal agency. Together we're changing that statistic, and the lives of First Nation IT professionals is a reality, and it's their jobs for the future. One of the things that I'm very passionate about, as is the organisation, Ethan Indigenous, and that's the trust. One of the videos just mentioned the trust in Indigenous companies. I challenge the IT procurement managers, and I challenge the IT managers themselves that are decision makers to just give it a go. Give an Indigenous IT company a go. My bets are that they'll deliver more, and if not better, because the stakes are higher. Their lives that are going to be changed through employment. and changing communities. So
It's
that's
a
what we're all about.
powerful call to action. Thank you so much for your transformative work. Now, you've been the major sponsor of these awards for more than 10 years now. What's one thing that's changed each year for you coming back?
Oh, you got me on the spot. Apart from my shirt size, I've mastered the art of tucking in and now take professional photos.
I hear you, brother.
It would have to be seeing the transformation of the EBA into a foundation, and also, the inclusion of and the very wise Joseph Asaf foresight of the Indigenous Award itself is fundamental and very special.
Thank you so much for your insights, and of course a huge thank you to Ethan Group and everything you do. Tony Jaja.
Thank you, Tracy.
We now come to tonight's small business category. This is an award for businesses with an average annual turnover of under $10 million. To qualify, finalists must have been born outside of Australia, but have now made Australia home. Their companies must have been operating for at least 3 years. And as before, key judging criteria include obstacles and hardships faced, ingenuity in the marketplace, growth, future potential, contribution to the community and business landscape, sustainability, and overall business success. Introducing our finalists, once again in no particular order, let's first meet Ignacio Ferrer Amat and Physiometrics. Originally from Spain and living and running his practice in Queensland, Ignacio describes himself as a motivated daydreamer. Not that he has much time for daydreaming. Since opening his physiotherapy clinic in 2019, he's been both running the practice and working literally hands-on. Over the past 5 years, despite the intervention of the pandemic, Physiometrics has grown to a team of 11, which reflects the diversity in their local community. Between them, they speak English, Spanish, French, Tagalog, Mandarin and Cantonese. Let's visit a truly multicultural enterprise, Physiometrics.
My name is Ignacio Ferrer Amat, but everybody calls me Nacho, and the company name is Physiometrics. We're a physiotherapy business. We are 4 physios, and we look after people after having an injury. I'm from Spain, but when I was 20 years old, I moved to France, lived in France 4 years before when I met my wife. She was living in France as well. We dated for like 2 years, and then she got homesick, and she asked me to come to Australia. So I asked her to marry me in a boat in Paris, and she said yes. Left everything in France. I had a very good job that was paying me a lot of money. I have my good friends over there, my parents and my family in Spain. And we came over here and gave it a go. And yeah, I haven't looked back. I always thought that because I moved before to another country with another language, this will be easy. But it was actually really difficult. It was really hard to find a job of physio. You need to validate the whole degree, doing a series of exams. Need you to do an English exam, which I needed to do 5 times before passing it. 5 times, yeah, really difficult. I never gave up, keep doing my English exam. I applied for hundreds of jobs and I eventually got one. And I started working as a physio limited registration. I always wanted to do my own business. And one day Jacqueline said, let's do it. And she happens that she was studying an MBA, and she ended up helping me through all the steps to do to open your own business. I didn't realize how much work it will be. Like this all space was only a slab of concrete. So I needed to fill it out, building it all up. I ended up painting it myself with help of family and friends just to save some money. And then it was very quiet at the beginning. And I will have like no patients coming in. They will just come in by accident, thinking there was Chemist Warehouse that's next door, walk all the way in, and then look around and say, oh, sorry, I need to go, it's the Chemist Warehouse. With my spare time, I went to doctors, I went to gyms, and I introduced myself and what we were doing. And little by little, it's like a snowball effect. It became bigger and bigger. We were able to make profit on the first year, so that was a relief. So I think the first week, I've only treated 5 patients. And today, 5 years later, in a normal week, we see about 260 patients. No one tells you this, but through your career as a physiotherapist or a university in Spain or working in France as a physio, they don't teach you any business knowledge. I thought it would be easy, but it wasn't easy at all. There's a lot of work on the marketing, financials, accounting, heaps of work and hours that you need to spend. But yeah, no one teaches you about owning a business. Really, really happy I'm here. There is so much opportunity in Australia. It's actually not easy at all, but everybody who is willing to work hard and give it a go, there is opportunity in Australia for you.
In my book, anyone who's prepared to sit an exam 5 times deserves their eventual success. So all power to Inacio and Physiometrics, a great example of a business that's truly connected to its local community and committed to the idea that everyone should have access to quality, affordable healthcare. Congratulations. Our second finalist in this category is Sam Rahif and Oscar Security Group. After tragically losing his father in Iraq and seeking safety in Jordan, Sam Rahif came to Australia in 1996 with a profound appreciation for security and stability, a fledgling career as a door security guard, and a friendship with Rumson Petro, now the General Manager of Oscar Security, led to the founding of the company in 2014. Offering integrated personalised solutions to meet the evolving needs of clients, Oscar Security is now a trusted name in the industry, servicing over 30 major hospitality and corporate clients right across Australia. And as you'll see, with ambitions to service a whole lot more.
My name's Sam Rahif, my company Oscar Security Group. We look after pubs and clubs, hospitals, construction sites. Our company model at Oscar Security Group is your security is our priority. I left Iraq due to incredible incidents that I've lost a very valued person to my life. He was our mentor, our dad. He was a jeweler back then, and we owned multiple stores. And unfortunately, that he was killed. It was an armed robbery. I was there on the scene, yes. I can remember the scene as we speak. So my mum was brave enough, and she said, we will leave the country because they will chase you, especially me, because I was the witness, the key witness on the scene. So we did escape the country. I remember 3 o'clock in the morning, 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and 1-year-old. We wrapped ourselves in a blanket and we jumped in a car, and 14 hours later, we were in Jordan. And we arrived in Australia a year later. It was a passion into us that we want to learn the language. We want to be able to understand. We want to be able to help. Started Oscar 2014. I started with my ex-wife's brother-in-law. We were running on zero income for 7 months plus. We used to work at the doors as well as come to the office at 9 o'clock in the morning in case someone rings us or sends us an email requesting a service. So we actually used to sleep during the day in the office waiting for a phone call to actually survive the business. We started negotiating out in the market, providing the unique service that we can do. So we started getting a lot of work. When COVID hit, we closed down. But then when we come back to the market, we were stronger because every door needed an RSA marshal, a COVID marshal. So there was the growth then. Today, Oscar family is about 80 guards. We provide training to our guards. We provide consultation to our guards. We check on our guards' well-being. We teach them customer service. Security, not just a uniform. Security, not just a presence. Security is a customer service. It's care. You gotta care. We're doing amazing. Very happy, very proud of my team. I'd say Oscar will be a national security provider in Australia. We say to our mum, thank you. Thanks for bringing us to a safe, wonderful, and outstanding and amazing country. You've given me an opportunity, and I'm not gonna let it down. Australia, you've opened arms for me, and you've told me everything is there for you. Grab whatever you need, and I took whatever I need to become a successful business person.
Successful indeed, and gosh, so moving. Another great story of resilience, courage and hard work. Oscar Security Group's multifaceted contributions to the community and to the country help build a safer, more inclusive and prosperous Australia. Huge congratulations to Sam Rahif and Oscar Security Group. And now we have another company specialising in physiotherapy. It's Sailendra Kundrapu's My Physio, My Health. Hailing from India and now based in Adelaide, Sailendra's business provides high-quality physiotherapy services to hundreds of regular clients and has grown from a single practice in 2007 to multiple practices in South Australia. The company was rebranded in 2019 and now employs 70 people. Sailendra has enjoyed the support of his equally hard-working wife and also of Vananda Sharma, who manages the business side of the growing practice. It's time to hear all about My Physio, My Health.
My name is Sailendra Kundrapu and our company is My Physio, My Health. We offer physiotherapy, we do offer exercise physiology, remedial massage therapy, dietetics and podiatry. I'm from India. I got my admission into physiotherapy back in India and I wanted to continue physio, but my mom and dad said like, no, you need to repeat another year, try for us into medicine. But I did not fulfill their dreams, so I continue to do physiotherapy. My dream is always move to Australia because in physiotherapy, Australia is considered to be the leaders in the industry of physiotherapy. So I moved here in year 2002. While doing full-time studies, I managed to work part-time in an Indian restaurant to pay off my living expenses. After completing my master's degree, I did get an opportunity to work in an established practice. I had a good relationship with my then employer. He actually offered me to, why don't we go in partnership together? First thing that I had to do a big sacrifice of giving up full-time employment. And then I borrowed around $50,000 on 2 of my credit cards. So we then opened our first practice in 2007. Things went okay. We had different opinions. Basically, his plan was to sell the practices. I always felt like this is my baby. I started from the scratch, so I always wanted to maintain that good quality of care. So we then went part ways, so I rebranded both our practices to My Physio, My Health, which is where we are today. For the first 6 months, I could not afford to have a receptionist at the front end. So I was actually doing both the jobs, working long hours because most practices, they just want to close by 5 o'clock. And so that's where opening longer hours had really helped us in continuity of treatment. I met Vandana Sharma, so she's our executive director today. And she really helped me in keeping our pillars very strong. I was also blessed to get good staff, so constantly every year we are growing by 15 to 20%. Have actually grown into 12 locations today and looking forward to expand into the regional South Australia and interstate in the near future. I always believe that like any business grows as the team grows. So we have always invested in our staff, always make sure that they are mentally strong, mentally healthy. Always involved in community events is a big thing for us. This is where we always often conduct workshops on injury prevention, health awareness. Australia is an amazing country with great opportunities. I believe that if one willing to work hard and do some sort of sacrifice, I believe that anybody could achieve their dreams.
He's certainly achieved his goals with My Physio, My Health. Yet another example of hard work, commitment and the determined pursuit of a dream. Congratulations to Sailendra Kundrapu. Oh, they're such wonderful stories, aren't they? We now come to our fourth finalist in the small business category. This is Dori Kordahi and DKM. Originally from Lebanon and currently based in Sydney, New South Wales, Dori Kordahi is a serious entrepreneur. A self-described HSC failure, he worked in a variety of jobs from apprentice hairdresser to shoe salesman and professional basketball player. An avid basketball fan, he was a young towel boy for the legendary Sydney Kings, a team he later came to co-own. Operating in the competitive promotional industry, DKM specialises in client management and niche high-end market creation. In recent years, Dori has focused on a series of mergers and acquisitions that have seen him buy and monetise numerous companies. Let's take a look at DKM.
My name is Dori Kordahi and the company is DKM. DKM is a business that runs across multiple brands and companies that I own. We have Swanky Socks underneath that brand. We've got Zip Zip as well as DKM Blue. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and we migrated across in Australia in 1976. So I was fortunate enough to come across with my family at a young age. Look, they moved through the Civil War in 1975, so definitely was a challenge for my parents to uproot a young family from Lebanon to Australia, but I think given us a lot of opportunity and prosperity to really grow and build a career for myself and my family and my brothers in Australia. I failed everything at school. I went to a Catholic school, didn't go to university, ended up doing hairdressing with my dad in Punchbowl, which I didn't really like, and then sort of got into the rag trade at 21 with my cousin, and I was fortunate enough that I found my calling and loved the sort of industry that I was in, and I've just sort of really progressed in that field from a very young age, and at 25 started my business from my parents' garage and just built from there. So DKM Blue was an amalgamation of my business and my older brother's Danny's business. We just sort of thought we'd just collaborate the companies together and bring in all our resources in one company. Everything's always difficult, but for me, it's those obstacles that you put yourself through and the challenges you take that makes you robust, makes you tough, and you fight through it. It's all about planning, and for me, I was fortunate enough to plan and get a good foundation set up, and keeping things very tight, keeping your overheads low. Heading off to China was a very big asset for us to really give us a point of difference. A lot of companies weren't importing out of China in my field. We now have 25 staff thereabouts in Australia. Swanky Socks has really grown across in the UK and the US, which is fantastic. It was doing 40,000 a year, and now we're turning over close to $7 million in that business. Zip Zip as well. We've got distribution in Australia. We're now distributing in the United Kingdom as well, in London. I think we're only at the infancy stage with what we're doing with those two brands. For the next couple of years, it's really consolidating what we have and really putting a lot of effort into growing these two companies. We donate a lot to Lebanese communities, to our church. We take a lot of our clothing sent across to Lebanon. I think that's important for us, and as well as every sock we sell, we donate a pair of sock to the homeless as well. So we've donated over 100,000 pairs of socks. Look, I think we're very fortunate to be living in Australia considering what's going on around the world. It's a lucky country, and I think from a business perspective, I think the world's your oyster.
Love those socks and love the company's entrepreneurial spirit. That's DKM. Also adorable. Our congratulations to Dori Kordahi. I'm sure you'll agree, just one of 4 incredible finalists in this category. Let's show our appreciation for all of their contributions. Oh, so lovely. Next, we have the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business category. But first, it's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage a representative of Sadara, formerly known as DAR Group. Now, Sadara is one of the major sponsors, and tonight is represented by a member of the Sadara Global Diversity Board. Please put your hands together for the former Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Scott Morrison. It's lovely to see you. I know you've attended the EBA every year. You've attended as a minister, as a treasurer, as a prime minister, now representing one of our biggest supporters. Can you tell us about Sadara's work in the area of global diversity?
Well, I'm on their Global Advisory Board as opposed to the Diversity Board, and they obviously are committed to these things. But what I've always enjoyed when I've come along to these events, I always get misty at these events. Jenny and I, we love coming back. We hear the stories, and you're overwhelmed by just how powerfully this country has been able to give people such extraordinary opportunities and how they have responded. What I've sort of learnt, particularly since I've left politics, is the role that global capital has played all around the world in also investing in the future of Australia. And you go around this room tonight, there are many companies that are here tonight that come from all over the world. Just on my own table, Leonardo are here from Italy, but wherever you go, you find this. And when you have a multicultural country, it tends to enable you to draw on the multi-ethnic, multi-diversity opportunities that exist all around the world, and it's because it finds a natural home here. It's a very easy place, I think, for companies to come from all around the world and put down roots and actually engage with a workforce and a population which they will find reflected in many of their own countries.
Of course, diversity is very much a part of our mission here at the EBA. So now you're here in your current capacity. How do you think we're doing?
Well, I think, look, Australia, as you heard just all of the finalists say, they said just such wonderful things about Australia. And you often hear people constantly being quite negative about Australia, and I don't know why when you see these sorts of stories. Sure, we've got our set of issues to deal with, but when you step back and get a bit of perspective, as I know those who have come to this country and sought to engage in the country positively, I always used to say I used to come to make a contribution, not take one, and they've seen the rewards of that in everything they've done. And not only have they received those rewards, but you've seen them give back again and again and again. I can only give us top marks on that front.
Scott, thank you so much for being here again tonight. Huge thanks to Sadara.
Thank you very much.
Thanks are also very much due to the EBA Foundation, which makes it possible for all of our finalists to be with us tonight. They enjoy air travel, transfers and the very best of accommodation, courtesy of the Four Seasons Hotel, Sydney. They also receive their certificates of recognition, and of course each category winner will receive a gorgeous crystal trophy and a $10,000 cheque from the foundation. I think that deserves a round of applause, hey? It is now time, friends, for the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business Award. This is a celebration of migrant businesses with an average annual turnover in excess of $10 million. This award is dedicated to the memory of one of the most beloved and delightful members of the EBA family, Henry Nye, a champion of champions, visionary, philanthropist and all-round nice guy. His son, Sonny Nye, continues Henry's tradition of giving back, both here in Australia and overseas. And his company, ABC Tissue Products, is one of the EBA's regular and generous sponsors. As with the other categories, finalists in the medium to large business category have been evaluated on challenges met, growth, competition, ingenuity and success. These are inspiring stories of belief, determination and, most appropriately, generosity. Again, in no particular order, we begin with Dr. Ellie Sharmi and Vitex Pharmaceuticals, Another finalist from Lebanon, now resident of New South Wales, Ellie Shami recently became Dr. Shami when UWS conferred an honorary doctorate on him for contributions to economy, industry and community. Dr. Shami emigrated to Australia as a 16-year-old and over a 50-year career has made an extraordinary contribution to Australia's economic landscape and social well-being. Established in 1989, Vitex began with exports to the Middle East and Arabian Gulf, and within 5 years was recognised as Australia's largest supplier of complementary medicines. It has since become Australia's largest contract manufacturer of vitamins, minerals and nutritional supplements. Ellie's son is now CEO of Vitex International, which is a fully vertically integrated business operating from a purpose-built, world-class facility in Sydney's west, the largest of its kind in Australia. Let's meet Dr. Ellie Shami.
My name is Ellie Shami, business name is Vitex Pharmaceutical. At the moment, we are the largest pharmaceutical in Australia. My background from Lebanon, my father and my mother, in the year of 1970, they decided to come to Australia. We had to stay with my grandfather and grandmother back home. Then, 1975, I come with the whole family to Australia. When I used to go and come from Lebanon, the war started in Lebanon. And always people are always asking me, get us Panadol, get us vitamin, get us medicine on your way back. I said, there is a demand for this. Vitex Pharmaceutical started 1989, back in Preston. I used to buy product, finished good, from Penn Pharmaceutical. And I used to buy it directly from Penn, export overseas. During my journey doing it, I discover I can do it myself. After 6-7 years working with Penn became a bankrupt. I lost over $300 to $4 million that day. Then I kick on everything fresh from zero in the year 2000. I become a packer and I do it myself, package it my way according to my region, the market I used to export to. I used to do over 15 to 17 hours a day. I used to stay till 11 o'clock at night with the family, packing it in a little counting machine. In the year 2005, I find myself, I have enough money to become a manufacturer. And this word, not small, it's a big word. I had to have a license and many requirements. It's not an easy thing. I've been through a hard time, hard work. Sometimes I short of money, use my own credit card to buy the wages. No money. But I always was looking ahead. I can make it. When we start becoming the largest, everyone comes to us. Then we become a contract manufacturer to others beside our market. Swiss Pharmaceutical, Blackmore, Centrum, Pharmacare, all the big brands. Vitex manufacture now up to 5,000 formula. Vitex started, I think, about 7 people. Right now, over 400 people. Last year, financial year, I think it was about 245 million. Vitex will become, in the year 2026, globally, worldwide manufacturing site in Australia. We will become, as a family, the first people who can produce fish oil in Australia. Australia, the only country to do business. The only country Australia give you respect and support. I'm not an educated person. I don't have degrees. But in this country, if you have the ambition and the energy and you know what you're doing, you can do what you want.
Ambition, energy and know-how. What an amazing story of determination and sheer hard work. And importantly, a family story, one of mutual support, shared endeavour and clearly tremendous success. Congratulations, Vitex Pharmaceuticals. Our second finalist in this category is Indra Angkola Ang and Ace Quality Produce. Originally from Indonesia and now living in Victoria, Indra arrived in Australia on a student visa in 1999, aged 17, with no English. He had to be a quick learner, working in multiple jobs from stock taking to cleaning supermarket shelves. He tried a couple of other business ventures before establishing his export business for grapes, citrus and stone fruits, a business he and his wife started in 2017 by refinancing their house. In that year, Ace Quality Produce exported 72 shipments of fruit. In 2023, 340 shipments went out, and the company is looking at future growth on an annual basis. How about a taste of Ace Quality Produce?
My name is Indra Angkola Ang, and my company is Ace Quality Produce. What we do is we export Australian grapes and citrus from Australia to Indonesia. I was born in Indonesia, in Jakarta. I used to come here as an international student. I met my girlfriend at the time, so I decided I'll stay in Australia and try to look for jobs. I did work in Myers, Woolies, Coles, whatever, all sort of jobs, just to make a living. In the beginning, it was hard. It was really, really hard. English is our second language, as you know. So when we try to look for a job, we don't have the confidence. But I never think of stop quitting. Long story short, in 2015, when we travel to Robinvale from Melbourne, and we see a lot of vineyard there, I was like, okay, there might be some market for these grapes. So I called up my dad. I asked my dad, do you know anybody that would be interested in buying grapes? Actually, his gym mate worked with one of the companies that import table grapes. And that's how the whole journey started, with one container. I refinanced my properties. At the time, I said, take $100,000 as a capital to run the business. And that's what I did. Pretty much all the connection I've got now, it was cold call in the beginning. I called someone in Indonesia when I look at it in Google, and I just called them up, I introduced myself, and that's how I started. We learned along the way. We paved our way through, really. To start with, we don't even know what is red globes, like for example, the variety of red globes, let alone there's another variety, there's white grapes, there's black grapes, and we just learn. We bought fruits from a few different growers in Robinvale, Mildura area, and next year we do a bit more, and we have more growers come on board. And now I think we have about probably 70 or 80 growers in our books. I remember I did 36 containers first year. We are at about 430 containers as we speak today, and still growing. This year we're gonna pick out of 180 acres. The total farms, we are holding over 1,000 acres. The shed that we have is about 6,000 meters square, and in the next couple of years it's gonna grow to 12,000 meters square. The decision was in 2018, we reached the peak where we pretty much buy from pretty much all the growers that we know. My business manager, Camilo, he kept asking me, pushing me, I keep telling me, why don't we have our own farms? I was like, number one, the capital involved is enormous, as you know, and number two is the risk. But then I trusted him. I said, let's buy a small farm so the kids, his kids, they all can work together as a family. I want to accommodate his dreams. At the same time, it works well for both of us. I'm not the first exporters to export Indonesia, as you know. There's someone else done this 20, 30 years before me. But I'll work my hardest because that's the upbringing that I have. Yeah. And you got to be honest and loyal to people as well. Australia, like, the keys for us is as long as we want to work, the rewards is there.
I'll tell you what, it takes a fair bit of courage to put your house on the line and start a new business. But courage, along with determination and that willingness to work relentlessly, really can bear fruit. That is Ace Quality Produce. Congratulations. Our next finalist in this category is Haytham Moshi and ATS Building Products. Haytham emigrated to Australia in 1991, aged 17, after fleeing the Gulf War, travelling to Turkey on foot and spending months in a refugee camp. He arrived with $100 in his pocket and, fortunately, some welcoming family members who were able to offer encouragement and support. They offered him work in their furniture factory where Haytham learnt all about timber. Let's see how he went from his own business startup with just one ute and a dream to founding and operating a thriving enterprise with 5 warehouses nationwide, one of the largest timber supply operations in Australia, ATS Building Products.
My name is Haytham Moshi and my company name is ATS Building Products. We're a timber importer and distributor of building material and hardware. Our company motto is build better with ATS. I was 16 years old in Iraq when the war between Iraq and America started in August 1990. The only way that we could escape back then was to go as a refugee by foot into the neighboring country, Turkey. There was a lot of landmine which was put in between the borders of Iraq and Turkey. I still remember a landmine detonated and there was a teenage guy that was killed instantly. Yes, my cousin was injured in his leg and his brother and my brother had to carry him across from the river. I had a family in Australia and they always spoke highly about Australia, so we always have Australia as the first choice of country. When I arrived, I was enrolled into high school and on top of that I was working in a family business at furniture. So I was working and studying. It was very, very hard for me, very difficult. After high school, I still worked for about 4 years in the furniture business and during that period of time in 1997, I met my wife, Rima, and I said, look, I can't continue doing this what I'm doing. I know I can do much, much better. And I started brainstorming in ideas, and I came up with the idea of ATS Building Product. And I started buying timber from wholesalers, picking up on my ute and delivering it to the builders. I leased a warehouse and I started importing from overseas, and that's where the game was on. We had customers lined up on the whole street which I could not keep up. I would grow into $100 million turnover company. We've supplied a lot of iconic job sites in Australia, which I'm very proud of. We have a plan to grow much, much larger than we are. It will be an organic growth and it will be as well an acquisition and having more warehousing in more states and existing states as well. The timber that I source, it's always been sourced from a sustainable forest, which gives comfort to the builders and the end user that ATS always have a reputable name in the market. I think I've always helped the community. Recently, I was appointed an advisor for a non-profitable charity called Asira. It's for Christian people from Iraq, Syria and Lebanon. My dad, I remember, he told me, whoever lives in Australia is being selected and blessed. So Australia, I think, is the number one.
A timber business with sustainability at its heart. To Haytham Moshi, his amazing wife, Rima, and their 3 children, sincerest congratulations on this genuine family business. ATS Building Supplies is a remarkable success story, and how great to see Haytham still has the ute he started out with. Heartfelt congratulations. And now to our very last finalists for the night. They are Mario and Gaetano Bongiorno and Alba Cheese Manufacturing. Mario and Gaetano now live in Melbourne, but it's not hard to guess where they came from. It's Italy, of course. The brothers also come from a long line of cheesemakers, with origins in the idyllic mountains of Sortino. It was their father, Luciano, who taught his sons the family secrets of making traditional Italian cheese, and they still do it the age-old way, producing a high-quality product that will bring you a first-class Italian culinary experience every time. Established in 1984, Alba Cheese is now a household icon, a respected brand in the international marketplace and a staple in Australian and international kitchens. Here's just a slice of Alba Cheese Manufacturing.
My name is Gaetano Bongiorno.
My name is Mario Bongiorno, and the name of the company is Alba Cheese.
Well, Alba Cheese, there is a factory where they manufacture all Italian cheese, Parmigiano and Pecorino and mozzarella, bocconcini, all this Italian cheese.
We come from Italy, from Sicily, and from a little town which has been called Sortino.
Well, at that time there was not much work in Italy. Started after finishing school, we got work in a farm with my dad. He just had a big farm and a few cows, and in the spring when the cows produce a lot of milk, that's what he used to do, make a bit of ricotta. As a young boy, we don't want to be in the farm, we want to be in the city. A lot of people, they used to come in Australia at the time, and that's why we follow all the other people.
I come in here before, and then I call my brother, he come in here too.
The first difficult thing was the language.
And we work a different type of job. We work with concrete, I work with bricklayer, work at a type of factory, a biscuit factory, broom factory.
And then we end up work for very little time with another small cheese company. Cheese, that's the only thing we knew from Italy, because we used to do the sort of a job in Italy in a small scale, of course. Then from that, we decided to buy this block of land and start on our own.
Long hours, long hours. When we say long hours, we're talking 18, 20 hours a day.
We start at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock sometime, and we never finish before 5 or 6. We do the ricotta, and then I continue to start with another 2 work in the factory, and Mario used to do delivery cheese.
We had a bit of competition. There was someone, a little bit of competition, which then make it a little bit harder.
Actually, after a few months, the bank called us. We said we was a little bit in trouble.
The recession hit, and the interest rates goes up. Work a bit more long hours. You got to work a little more hard. Try to survive.
10 years nearly until we start to get a little bit light outside. And then we get a little bit better when my wife come involved in the office. Yeah, we won a gold medal straight away. The first time we entered the competition, we get gold medal on the ricotta and mozzarella. And then, of course, her name started to be known more and more. Yes, we do about 20 different type of cheese now, yes. We only started with 4 or 5 type, and now we get at this stage 20 more maybe. We sell, I think it will be about 60% export, 6-7 countries.
It's about 10% each year we've been improving.
Yeah, I can see the company got a good opportunity to grow even a lot more than what it is now. I think Australia is one of the best countries in the world. They give a lot of opportunity. We couldn't do this in Italy. I think Australia is a good country.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling hungry after watching that. Making some of the best cheese in the world, selling all over Australia and now to more than 20 countries worldwide, with others in their sights. There's nothing that's going to stop the Bongiorno brothers from offering that authentic taste of Italy, made right here in what they call one of the best countries in the world, Australia. Congratulations. And that was a terrific team to round off our finalists in the Henry Nye medium to large business category. Please, let's congratulate them along with all of the finalists in this category. And now, it's that time of night we've all been waiting for. Time to announce the recipients of the 35th Ethnic Business Awards. I'm sure everyone has an idea about who they think should win one of these magnificent trophies. You may have discussed it with the person sitting next to you and come to realise in the process just how challenging it must be for our judges to make these decisions. I have no idea how they do it or what conclusions they've reached this year, and like you, I cannot wait to find out. So, without further ado, let's turn our attention to the winners of the 35th Ethnic Business Awards. Yes, to present the award for Excellence in Indigenous Business and to say a few words of her own, please welcome Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley, ACKC, Governor of New South Wales.
No. Who needs a speech notes? Goodness gracious. This is too exciting for that. May I commence in the language of the Gadigal? We are on Gadigal land. So Budjeri Gamarua, Dian Babana Gamarada. We honour the First Nations people, not only of this area here in Sydney, but across the whole of our land. I have a few words to say about Indigenous Australia generally, but I actually wanted to tell a multicultural story, which is actually not in my notes, but as I was sitting here tonight thinking that as Governor, one gets to do really quite amazing things. One of the things I do is chair in New South Wales the Rhodes Scholarship applications. The Rhodes Scholarship, I think, probably is the most prestigious scholarship award in the world. And in my time as Governor, I have been part of a committee which has seen one female engineer, two other female doctors. They look a bit more like me than the others that I'm going to mention. One Lebanese journalist, communications officer with Multicultural New South Wales, the first Rhodes Scholar from Macquarie University. So for our Lebanese friends down in that table, extraordinary, from Western Sydney. Two doctors, one female, one male, both came here from Sri Lanka with their parents, and two other males. One Indigenous doctor who's finished his degree from Oxford and is currently working in the Northern Territory with Indigenous communities there, particularly in the area of Indigenous infant health. And one this year, we were so happy about this, one young Indigenous law student from Kyle Bay, down in the south of Sydney, his dad, a plumber, getting his high distinctions and his distinctions, and now a Rhodes Scholar. That, to me, is the picture of Australia, which, for me, has always been the land of opportunity, and thank goodness it continues to be the land of opportunity. And these awards are part of all of that. So, Joe, thank you. No, can I say a bit more? Tracy said I could talk as long as I like, but I do have to... I sort of said 4 minutes. So, two very important things happened in 2010. The first was this, and I'm a lawyer, I'm sorry I have to do this. There was an amendment to the New South Wales Constitution in 2010, and a new Section 2 was inserted. And in that Section 2 states that the Parliament, the New South Wales State Parliament, on behalf of the people of New South Wales recognises Indigenous Australians here in New South Wales and recognises their spiritual, their social, their cultural and their economic connection to the land, to their traditional lands. And it goes on to say that it also acknowledges their unique contribution to the identity of our state. We say that in our New South Wales Constitution. It's hardly controversial, and that happened in 2010. The other thing that happened in 2010, and I think it was coincidental. Joe will tell me that it was sort of, he sort of had the vibe, because it was in 2010 that the Indigenous in Business Awards were instituted by these awards generally. So, Joe, well done for that. Again, I think Joe should get the congratulations and the Ethnic Business Awards. Now, Joe, of course, was born in Lebanon. The Lebanese are descendants of the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians, as everybody in this room knows, were great traders and great seafarers. And that's a history, very, very well known. And so people like Joe and the other Joes in the room, the Joe Risks, but all the business people in these worlds, they had it lucky because they have this DNA gene. It's that entrepreneurial spirit coming from the Phoenicians. You've had it for thousands of years. What we don't know much about, however, is the history of business and trade of Indigenous Australia, particularly in that era they call BC, before Cook. But it's an amazing history. We're starting to know, it's becoming quite well documented, that there was significant trade for over 300 years between the Yolngu people up in Arnhem Land and the Macassans. The Macassans used to come down every December and they'd stay for about 5 months, and whilst they were here, they would fish for what we call the sea cucumber, they call the trepang. They would stay for that 5 months, they would process the product on shore, and then when the monsoon season ended in about April, they would sail back north. And they, in turn, traded the trepang with China. They brought to Australia, to the Yolngu people, calico, tobacco. We didn't grow it then, I guess that was the good thing about it. And also metal instruments. They bought metal and implements that could be used by the Yolngu people. The trade, by the mid-1850s, that trade that went back to China comprised about 1/3 of China's imports of trepang. And it doesn't seem very much these days, but if you think of the size of the boats at the time, they were taking back, and it was only one voyage back, about 9 tons of this dried sea cucumber or trepang. Very well documented, and of course there's been a movie just released on exactly that story. What is less known is the trade across the continent by First Nations people. And when you think this is a pretty big continent, and they traded across thousands of kilometres, and you might wonder how they found their way, because they were doing it on foot. They didn't have navigational instruments, but what they did have was a system, a very clever, sophisticated system, where they would know where to go, not only by the stars, but more particularly by remembering facts and stories that were connected with particular elements of the landscape as they went across it. And it was a memory system. In fact, it was a memory system in respect of which the ancient Greeks' memory palaces were not dissimilar. The difference was the Indigenous system, as it turns out, was much more sophisticated. How do I know that? Because in 1921, Monash University actually did a study on those two memory systems. And they did a study with their medical students, and it was the Indigenous memory system which most assisted their medical students in their studies. So that was a huge recognition of what has been happening on these lands for, as we know, some 65,000 years. But there's another twist in the story. In 2014, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to a group of neuroscientists who had done research into the relationship or the manner in which memory and spatial awareness became entwined in the hippocampus. That was a Nobel Prize. It's exactly what Indigenous Australians had been doing for 65,000 years. And I'm not going to say we were robbed, but I'm sure you will agree that that Nobel Prize actually should have come here to our First Nations people who really have had that system and didn't need 3 neuroscientists in a laboratory to work it out. So to our Indigenous Australians and our Indigenous Australians in business, how wonderful you are.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for those incredible words, and thank you for your gracious support of the Ethnic Business Awards. I'm sure you're as keen as I am to find out which of the 4 finalists is going to take home that stunning trophy. But first, let's run through the finalists one more time. They are Kuri Curriculum, Bidem, Waminda, South Coast Women's Health and Welfare, and Jura Proprietary Limited. It's a shame there can only be one winner. Your Excellency, you have the name of the winner right there, so if you could do the honours, thank you.
Well, it may as well be the Nobel Prize, but tonight it is the 2024 Indigenous Award winner, Indigenous in Business Award winner, Bidem.
Bidem, co-founded by Jack and Philip Jenkinson in 2018, the cybersecurity company Bidem was founded with the express purpose of creating opportunities for First Nations people in remote areas of Australia by addressing issues of connectivity. Give it up for Bidem.
You keep that.
Thank you. Good evening. The view's different up here. The view is nice. It is nice. Firstly, thank you. It's important to show gratitude. Thank you to the finalists. All your stories are, really heartfelt. The challenges of business are hard enough, and you throw in the mix of everything else. So keep striving, keep driving, and we need more businesses and people in business such as yourselves. Just by way of education quickly, so by them in my language of Kalalagaya is the word for shark. The constellation, Governor, correct. My ancestors used that constellation. We didn't have a dial on a watch to tell us the time. We didn't have a compass. We were seafaring people, so we used that constellation. My ancestors, that is, used that to navigate the waters. Just quickly, and I'll finish off here. Without a Philip Jenkinson, there is no Bidem, or there is no Jack Reese. Without the Bidem team, there are no 3 lifetime scholarships. Our first at the University of Queensland, our second at the ANU in Canberra, and our third over in Edith Cowan in Perth. Without our partners, without our customers, without our vendors, distributors, what I like to refer to as the village, there is no partnership if the village does not exist. And if there are no partners, there is no commerce. If there is no commerce, there are no impacts. Simple as that. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for those powerful words about partnership and community and business. Congratulations, Jack Rees, on your business success, and thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. Congratulations to Biden. And thank you again, Your Excellency, for those powerful words. I'd like to extend a thank you to all of our finalists in that category, indeed all of the finalists here tonight. It's been such a privilege to hear your stories and get to know you a little bit better. We look forward to hearing more about your successes in the years and the decades to come. And now, to present the award in the small business category, it gives me great pleasure to call on the Minister for Home Affairs and Minister for Immigration, the Honourable Tony Burke. Now, Tony, I'm sure, like me, like all of us, you're keen to find out what's in that envelope. So let me quickly run through the finalists in the small business category. They are Physiometrics, Oscar Security Group, My Physio, My Health, and DKM. The best of luck to each and every one of you. Tony, over to you.
And the winner of the small business category is DKM.
Well, what a deserving winner. Dori Kordahi is a serious and serial entrepreneur. Having built DKM into a powerhouse of the promotional industry, he's now focusing on mergers and acquisitions to continue building his extremely impressive business empire. And isn't it lovely to see family represented here on stage? Congratulations, DKM.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. I did prepare a speech because I don't want to be lost for words. So I'm truly humbled to stand here today as a recipient of this award. It holds a special meaning because not only does it celebrate my achievements in business, but a rich cultural heritage that makes Australia such a vibrant and diverse nation. I want to thank Joseph Asaf for establishing an extraordinary foundation that has spanned 35 years. So thank you. To stand alongside many inspiring leaders from diverse backgrounds is truly humbling. Each of us here have travelled unique paths, bring with us cultures, our traditions and our dreams. These awards remind us that diversity is not just an asset, it is a lifeblood of innovation, resilience and success. My journey, like many immigrants, stories began with challenges. But those challenges taught me that in unfamiliar surroundings, one's roots and values are a source of strength. I'm grateful for the courage my parents instilled in me and for the support of my friends who have always encouraged me and supported me through my wins and my losses. This award is also a celebration of my incredible team. Their dedication and belief in our vision has been invaluable. Together we have built something special. Not only seeks success, but strives to give back. I hope to inspire people from all walks of life by showing that someone like me, who failed high school, who has no degree, and started his business from his garage shed, can become a market leader with belief, discipline, hard work, that anything is possible. Australia's inclusive spirit has given us all a chance to thrive, and I'm committed to paying that forward. I hope I can continue to encourage new Australians to pursue their dreams and showing that diversity is a strength that enriches every part of our society. I look forward to continuing our journey and contributing to the multicultural fabric of this beautiful country we call Australia. Lastly, as a father of two beautiful boys, Noah and Jonah, My greatest aim is to inspire both to be the best that you can be. My hope is one day you can look at me as your hero. That will be my greatest accomplishment and my greatest achievement. So once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate this award, and I thank you very much.
Oh, tears, I tell you. Thank you so much, Dori. It's been a wonderful experience hearing your story. You have inspired everyone in the room and you're inspiring the next generation. Congratulations and very best wishes for your continued business success. Just phenomenal. It's time now for this evening's final award, the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business Award, which celebrates the success of companies with an average turnover in excess of $10 million per annum. To say a few words and to announce this award, please give a very warm welcome to the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Peter Dutton.
Tracy, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honour to be here with you tonight. Firstly, I want to say, Joseph, to you and to everybody who is involved in tonight's activities, I wish every young Australian, in fact, could see the mood in this room tonight, the stories of inspiration. It is a remarkable event, and I do want to say thank you to all of the sponsors and to congratulate all of the nominees for each of the awards tonight. The story of our country has been enhanced, as many of the other speakers have spoken about before, because people have come from the four corners of the earth to make our country home, to provide an education and a better future, perhaps that their parents and grandparents could never have imagined for their children, their grandchildren and successive generations. Our country is truly blessed because of the decision that people have made to do that. And there are so many people in the room tonight who deserve praise and recognition. You've heard from some of them on stage, but the decision to make that journey, often with nothing, is something that we should hold up to young people to aspire to. One of the things about our culture in Australia is that we quite often cut down tall poppies, and it's something that we should together strive to turn around, to make sure that we can hold up the aspiration that we've seen here tonight, the sacrifice, family and vision and ultimately success, and what you have done in your own families and for future generations is a wonderful thing. To the Governor, to Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and Consul Generals here tonight, to Sir Peter and Lady Lynn Cosgrove, to Scott and Jenny Morrison, to Michael Suker and to Tony Burke and all of the other distinguished guests here tonight, it has been our true honour to be here with you to celebrate the success, and I won't delay you any longer from hearing the next recipient of the award, but thank you very much for a spectacular, inspiring and uplifting night. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for those remarks and for not keeping our poor finalists in suspense for too long. The final award for this evening, the Henry Nye Medium to Large Business category. We're delighted that Henry's grandson is on stage to present this award. Once again, to quickly summarise, the four finalists are Vitex Pharmaceuticals, Ace Quality Produce, Albert Cheese Manufacturing and ATS Building Products. Such an impressive group of finalists. Best of luck to you all. And Peter Dutton, the final announcement of the evening falls to you.
Well, amazing people you've heard from tonight, but sadly there can only be one winner, and I'm very pleased to inform you that the winner is Vitex Pharmaceuticals.
Well, what an incredible moment. A great cheer from the audience. Established in 1989, today Vitex is Australia's largest contract manufacturer of vitamins, minerals and nutritional supplements. Huge and heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Ellie Shami and Vitex Pharmaceuticals.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I don't know where to begin because my story, it's a long story. Very long. This comes from a zero education, $0 in my pocket. And where I am now together with the family, I think I have achieved what I have done, humbly speaking, very hard to anyone can do what I did. My journey was very hard in pharmaceutical field, manufacturing, exporting, sourcing raw material, handling over 400 people in the company. We're expanding to becoming global in the year 2025. This all comes together with my family, my wife Robin, my oldest son Dr. Anis, my youngest son Anthony, and the girls Latifi and Lucy. They all was behind me with full support to be where I am here now. Thank you again, and God bless you all.
What an extraordinary winner, Dr. Ellie Shami from Vitex Pharmaceuticals, from $0 in his pocket to this. Congratulations to you. And yes, how about another round of applause? Dr. Ellie Shami. And congratulations, of course, to all of the nominees and finalists across all categories on your determination, your entrepreneurialism, your commitment and hard work, and your generosity in giving back both to your communities and Australia as a whole. You all lead by example, and together you're a genuine inspiration and a testimony to the power of diversity in this vibrant, multicultural country we all call home. How about another round of applause? Now, friends, please join me in thanking the founder, the host of the Ethnic Business Awards, and chairman of the Ethnic Business Awards Foundation, a man who's dedicated his life to celebrating diversity and highlighting the power of businesses to build bridges and overcoming adversity, Mr. Joseph Asaf. Thank you also to our brilliant sponsors, Joseph Asaf and his team at the Foundation, Sadara, ABC Tissue Products, Ethan Group, both Indigenous and global, Zadco, the Department of Home Affairs, Arab Bank, KPMG, Living Gems, Divest Health Group, International Livestock Export, Four Seasons Hotel Sydney, Nexia Australia, Carla Zampatti, and Design Awards. Thank you all. And to our media partners, SBS, Australia's multicultural and multilingual broadcaster, along with the Aurora Community Channel, El Telegraph, Google, National Indigenous Television Network, Cheoljong, the Sunrise Daily newspaper, 1688 Chinese Media Group and its daily Chinese Herald and Chinese Melbourne Daily, Top Media Group, Neos Cosmos, Sydney Today app, Indus Age and Bruce Clay. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for all of our supporters. And finally, to all of you, and to everyone watching from the beautiful Four Seasons Hotel Sydney and the 35th Ethnic Business Awards, thank you for a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next year.
Thanks for watching the Ethnic Business Awards. Please join us again next year